Today's episode features a new monthly segment we've added to the show dedicated solely to the college recruiting process. This is Recruiting 101 with Aaron Cunningham and Ross Hawley on episode 86 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Mr. Cunningham, hello, sir.
Hey, how are you, Ross?
Man, I'm good. Hey, I want to start off with this. Number one, it's always nice to see your smiling face. You always have a smile on your face. I encourage everybody to go to YouTube at Baseball Forward Podcast and see that smile. Hey, I want to start with this. Congratulations in order, because I was asking you offline. Hunter Pence Baseball Academy down in Houston is now the scout team for the San Francisco Giants. Hey, man, Congratulations, and tell the audience what that means and what it all entails.
Yeah, thank you. So for us, I can speak on our end. Access to resources, development tools, their scouting department. The kids will get to wear Giants uniform, and really, there's just a prestige that comes with it because, major league teams don't really lend out their name to everybody, and so it's kind of, an honor. 14 years we've kind of been out there trying to prove ourselves, and so when you can kind of get that recognition from a major league organization and a really highly respected one, it's a big deal. So no, I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, man. The more you and I become friends, obviously I see your posts on Facebook, but I'm just blown away with the quality that I'm seeing from HPBA, and I'm like, dang, that's like the icing on top of it. It's almost like validation about everything that's been building. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when we started out our first few years, it was rough. You got to kind of build that foundation and prove yourself over and over enough times to where it's kind of like, all right, they've done it enough now to where we can believe in the operation. And so, yeah, it was an honor. And for us, we've obviously Hunter's history with the Giants. It seemed like, boy, there couldn't be a better organization to partner with in terms of that connection too. So yeah, it's been a fun couple of weeks since that all kind of went down. And, we're excited because it'll be kind of making its debut next summer.
That's awesome, man. Hopefully they don't wear those horrible City Connect uniforms. Much love to the Giants, though, the Gigantes. Hey, so Aaron, talking with Aaron Cunningham on episode 86 of the Baseball Forward podcast. This is an episode of Recruiting 101. So this episode, Aaron, is dedicated solely to college recruiting. And man, we had a ton of great feedback from our first episode that we did. I want to say it was episode 81-ish about a month ago. So here we are for episode 2. But it's episode 86. And it's just dedicated to college recruiting. So, we got a ton of questions. You and I kind of organized them and categorized them. And what I want to do today here, Aaron, is I want to make this super practical, and I want to make it easy, hopefully, for parents and kids to understand when they listen to this episode and they can get the sound bites. So we've got about 10 questions that we're going to go through that were submitted, and we're going to roll through them. And this is what we're going to do. I'm going to be the moderator, and I'm going to ask the question, and then Aaron's going to give about a 1 minute answer, and then I'll give my answer if there's any difference, and then we'll discuss it. So we want you guys to really understand, and these are questions that were submitted by the audience on Facebook, and we appreciate all your support, and let's continue to grow this thing. So, Aaron Cunningham, the first question I have for you: when does the recruiting process start?
So I think it starts from a preparation standpoint. 8th, 9th grade, you want to start getting your body and your skill development ready. I think from the reality of when scouts are going to really start to pay attention, they may take down some notes on some freshmen, but really it's after your sophomore year of high school. So that would be like your 16U summer. That's when they really lock in, and they come to your games and watch you and decide, on August 1st or shortly thereafter, are you a guy we want to kind of start this process with?
Perfect. The only thing I'll add, that's excellent. The only thing I'll add is, I think a lot of times we rush this process. And I think especially now, you don't really have to rush anymore because of the rules, the rule changes, and college baseball is kind of pumping the brakes on the younger guys. So if you're a 27, listen to this, chill, you're totally fine. And even if you're 26, you still have time. So I would just tell you, it starts later than you think in terms of the communication with college coaches and so on and so forth. So that's really my only addition to your wonderful answer.
Yeah, no, I agree. Back in the day, you used to have like 8th and 9th grade was where all the power fours and we're going to get guys. And now, like you said, perfectly said it, like, just chill out. You got plenty of time now.
Yeah. And you know what? I think a lot of student athletes, I always try to say, put blinders on, like blinders on the horse. They put those blinders on the horses so they just see straight forward. So they're not scared by what's going on around them, right? They're blinders. So if you're going through the recruiting process, number one, you got to really, really try your best to stay away from comparison, because comparison will rob you of joy and it'll rob you of fun through this process. And it'll probably rob you of opportunities, but put the blinders on. Don't compare yourself to everyone else, and know that the reality of it is, for most high school baseball players, they're going to make a commitment, let's just say between August, September, October-ish of their senior year. And that's pretty normal for everybody. Is that fair to say, Aaron?
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. I mean, I think the college coaches like it now too, that they don't have to be in such a hurry to find kids. They can really go through a deeper evaluation. And I do think in the long term, it is going to be better for the high school kids, at least finding a home that is a real good fit. But yeah, and I mean, we've had, over the last few weeks, we've had some really talented, high-end talented 2026 graduate kids that are just now kind of getting their offer or making a commitment. And I'm talking about kids that are first team all district, all Houston area. Some of them are even all state kids in Texas that are seniors in high school in November, and they're getting offers and making decisions. So don't freak out. And look, I mean, even if you're 2026 and you're not talking to anybody, trust me, if you just keep getting after it, the opportunities can be there.
Man, that is so well said. And it's your love for the game should drive you. And some of the best advice I ever got, and we'll go on to the next one, was from one of my coaches named Benny Castillo. Shout out to Bidnick. No. But he said, as long as you're playing, Ross, you have a chance. As long as you're playing, you have a chance. As long as you're playing competitively, you have a chance. Just go to the next stage. Go to the next stage. Go to the next stage. Don't be so concerned with what's going on around you. Get to the next level. When you're at that level, get to the next level and just keep going. All right. Aaron, good. Next question I have for you, sir. How do you get a coach to notice you as a recruit?
Gosh, that's the $1 million question. I think the easiest thing is physicality is a very obvious thing. If you're big and strong and fast, it's just human nature. You're going to stand out in athletics. But let's say you're not the biggest guy. Well, how do you play? Do you play hard? Do you run on and off the field? When you hit a ground ball to second base, do you run as hard as you can to first base? Do you run on and off the field? Do you show good body language? And then, you got to compete. You got to have that compete gene. You got to be able to get into the battles and win them. And you got to get in there and show that you can bring winning baseball to a team. There's a lot of different styles of baseball players, just like any other sport. A point guard and a center don't have the same skill set, but that doesn't mean they're both not humongous parts of how you win a basketball game. Baseball's the same. Not that you don't need a field full of 6'5", 240-pound kids to win. So, show that you can create winning baseball, that you've got high IQ, you play hard, you can compete, and I think one of the biggest things is if let's say you want to play at the University of Houston, well, go look at what their players look like. And that'll probably give you a pretty good idea as to what they are looking for.
Great idea.
So, same with junior college or D2 or D3 or any of those levels, try to get out and see what their players look like. And obviously you want to try to look like them. So there's no concrete answer there, but I think the biggest thing is be big, be strong, be fast, be athletic, but also be really good and help your team win.
Man, I love that. And you know what I'll add to that is you can tell you know what it looks like. I know what it looks like. Every coach in America knows what it looks like when a dude is playing the game with love and passion for the game and respect for the game. You play the game like that, you're going to stand out. So that's my contribution. And I would also say, how do you get a coach to notice you? I mean, do good things, hustle, make hard contact, sprint, make the plays, make the routine plays, have a nice arm to look at, have a steady glove. Because at the end of the day, you said it's the compete gene, and I love that. You got to make the plays. You got to be the dude. Like there's only nine people out on the field for both teams. So the best way to get them to notice you, show that love and be prepared, which kind of segues into our next question, and it'll be more from an application perspective. So the question was, how do you get a coach to notice you, which goes into what is the best way to communicate with college coaches? So if I'm trying to get a coach to notice me, and they don't know who the heck I am, and maybe I am qualified, how do I go about that process with them?
Yeah, so there's a lot of avenues. Obviously, camps are good because you can kind of get up close and personal with them if you go at the right times, right? If it's open recruiting, they may not be on campus, but find the right time to go to a camp. That's a great way to get an introduction, to really meet them. And then, I think we touched on this a little bit last time, but, Twitter is they're all on there. Yeah. And most of them will tell you their DMs are open. Now, I think emailing can be effective too. I think there's a lot of different ways to get in touch with them. It's just a world of connections. If your high school coach knows them, if your travel coaches know them, if some of your personal trainers know them, or somebody that's helping you in that recruiting process, sometimes they can connect those dots for you too. And so there's a lot of different ways. What I would say is just, if you're really adamant about forming a connection, in this day and age, it's not hard to find people. So, the effort is a big part of it. Don't just sit. If you're sitting back waiting for them to reach out to you, it may never happen. And so, sometimes you might reach out, you might not hear back. That's just sometimes how it works. But yeah, there's a lot of avenues. Just find the one that can get you in the door.
You make me think of prime time. I ain't hard to find. Hard to find. Hey, and I always say this, Aaron. I'm like, hey, it's like the job interview process, right? And if you were going out, if you and I had to go find a job tomorrow, the first thing we do is we put our resume together. We'd know our qualifications. We'd know where we want to go, where we'd want to go work, right? And then we would do whatever it took to get to the interview process. And that's like recruiting, right? It's like you got to have conversations. You got to get to the person that's making the decisions. And it's not, I always find it like, hey, so-and-so viewed my profile, or hey, recruiting, if somebody's recruiting you, it's personal interaction between the coach and the player. And so it's what's the best way to communicate with coaches? Email, Twitter, pick up the phone and call them, get on campus for a camp, whatever you have to do to get your an eyeball evaluation and get them to say yes or no to you. That's kind of what comes to my mind.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I would also say, like, when you talk about the job application, I love that analogy. I think that's really much about as spot on as it gets. But also, I've got a little simple business degree from Sam Houston. I don't think I should be applying for a job to be a rocket scientist at NASA. So if I got to know who I am, right? And if I'm not a player that's good enough to play at LSU, don't expect for them to get back in touch with you, right? Same for me. Like, I know that there's no way in the world I could build a rocket. I can send an application into NASA. I'm probably not going to hear back from them. Okay. And that's
try that for you, Aaron.
Okay. That is totally fine. But that's just how the world works. and that is totally fine. And so just have realistic expectations, right? Like understand these, these guys, especially the bigger school you go, the more emails they're going to get, the more DMs they're getting, the more players are trying to get into contact with them, right? And that's understandable.
Good point.
But just be realistic about, where you're sending that job application.
I think that's beautifully said. And it goes back to what you said earlier of you got to know who you are. And it makes me think of this story. I remember going and watching the different levels, right? And I remember having a I'm not going to name names, but a guy that I used to coach probably 10 years ago. And he says, "Hey coach, this guy threw probably mid 70s with a fastball. Hey, it is what it is, okay?" But he said he goes to college and he says, "I think I'm going to try out for the team." And I said, "OU?" And he says, "Yep." And he goes, "What do you think?" And I just said, "Man, I need you to go out and I need you to watch just an inter squad game, watch a practice, and watch how those pitchers move the baseball." That was the answer right there. So it's knowing who you are, but knowing where you want to go. And golly, get out there and watch the different levels. I mean, there's dudes at every level at this point. You got to be physical and you got to know where what lane you should be in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Talking with Aaron Cunningham on Recruiting 101, episode 86 of the Baseball Forward podcast. All right. Moving down these questions. Very nice. Very nice. Aaron, I like it. All right. Here's an interesting one. How do you choose what program is best for your kid?
So, and you're talking about a college program, correct?
Yes. So if I'm a parent and I'm trying to help my son through this process, how do we choose the right program for him?
Yeah. I love that question because part of what I do over at HP is try to help solve this kind of riddle or this issue for people, because that is a really complex question. It's not just, what baseball team does my kid need to play on? There's so many things that go into it. Is, what kind of academic school is this? What's the financial side of the question? Do I understand that this group of men that I'm going to be handing my son over to are the first group of people that are going to basically be molding my son from an 18-year-old into a young man? Do I line up with what their morals and values are? And then also you also have to come into the understanding of, what are my son's biggest overarching dreams in baseball? And, does him going here help maybe that happen? Right. But I think the biggest thing too is like, going back to the first question, don't be in a hurry, because this is one of the biggest decisions that a young person makes in life, because you're making a decision that goes well beyond baseball. It's where are you going to go live for the next 4 or 5 years of your life? What is that life going to be? How are they going to feed your kid? How are they going to take care of them? How are they going to develop them? Are they going to hold them accountable? Are they going to hold them accountable to go to class? Are they going to take the time to deal with the obvious growing pains that happens with 18 and 19-year-olds?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of homework that goes into this. And that's why finding people that can help you with these answers is important, but also making sure that you trust your gut and do your homework, because if you don't, bad things can happen. And sometimes teams that have a really good reputation for winning on the field are not a good fit for your kid. And
good point.
I understand sometimes, but, don't rush the process. Really do a lot of homework on it and really put a lot of time and effort into that decision. And that way, you can know that. Uh-oh.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're back.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, just, do your homework. Make sure that it's the right situation, because it's a lot easier said than done that, oh, this is the best school that offered my son on the field. Well, that might not be the best situation for your kid.
Good
Even
point.
if it's the best baseball team with the most success on the field, it doesn't always mean that's where your kid should go, and create the fit that they need.
I think far too often, Aaron, and by no fault of their own, because they've never gone through the process, but it's almost like recruiting has turned into I'm going through the recruiting process for a singular event of signing on signing day. And I'm going through this recruiting process because I want to hurry up to get so I can sit down at that table and I can sign. And that's it's a poor perspective to have, because you're rushing the process, and is it really going to be a long-term is it going to be for the long-term benefit of your son? I for me, it boils down to this: go where you're wanted and where you want to go. Like, there's a combination of those, right? Like, it's somewhere in the middle, where you're wanted but where you want to go. And you'll know that. I think you've probably heard this a million times, just like I have, is when they get on campus, I just knew. Well, you've got to go collect data. You've got to go visit campuses. You've got to go start and have conversations and create relationships and build relationships. And it's this whole process of figuring out what makes you tick, and collecting as much quality information, so that when you do make the decision, it's not just, hey, it's signing day, check. It's, hey, by the way, I'm going to probably get a really good degree and I'm going to have a pretty successful career here at college.
Yeah, I mean, that you couldn't say it any better. I mean, it's committing just so that you can sign and you can put up a post on your social media saying that you've committed is like probably the most short-sighted and for lack of a better term, ignorant thing you can do.
Yes.
Because if you do that, and then like by Thanksgiving break of your freshman year, you're on a bus home because it didn't work out, you're going to regret not taking that little bit of extra time. And look, sometimes some of those things, maybe you do make the right decision, it doesn't work out. I mean, there's no guarantees in this sport, right? Especially in college baseball today. It's a lot different than it used to be. But just kind of circling back to that theme, and it's easy to get caught up in worrying about what's next. But if you do that, sometimes you can make bad decisions trying to hurry up figuring out what's next. And so, you don't want to you want to make sure you understand the most important thing is where you're at today and trying to make today your best day. And those things will all come down the line. But I get it. It's easier said than done. It's easier to be on my side of this thing and tell you to, hey, relax, it's going to be okay. I'm not the one that's trying to figure out where I'm going to go to college in 6 months. Good so I totally get the mindset, but like you said, there will be a spot for you if you just keep showing up and doing well.
I want to add on, and I want to say something because it just kind of came into my mind, and the importance of surrounding yourself with people that know what the heck they're doing. That doesn't mean they have to be perfect and they have to know everything or they have to know everyone. But the older I get in this game, from a business perspective, from just an observation perspective, Aaron, it blows my mind how relationship-based baseball really is, man. It's such a small world. I mean, the circles we run in. I mean, you and I have had multiple conversations of guys 6 degrees out. What? You knew him? What? But it's such a small world. And my point in saying that is, when you're going through this process for parents listening to this, you make sure that, and there's quality people out there. There's quality people out there. You have to seek them out. But what are their intentions? Do they really want to help your son? You can kind of tell. And do they have the network? I get asked this all the time, and I'm just going to bring it up, and whatever, we'll deal with it. But I get asked all the time, is NCSA worth it? And here's my answer to that. Don't ask me. Ask the coaches. Ask the college coaches. Do you guys use NCSA? Do you use field level? What do you use to recruit? Because I think if you stick with people that are tied in and that have relationships at the higher levels and that really know how the game works, you'll be better off in the long run. And if you're questioning, hey, should I use this? Should I use that? It's okay to reach out and ask for references. It's okay. Like I got asked that the other day, and the only way I knew how to answer that was, Russ, what do you think about NCSA? I'm like, it's not for me to decide. It's not for me to decide. Ask the college coaches, ask for feedback. Hey, coach, do you use this? But ask questions and surround yourself with people that know what the heck they're doing and try the best you can.
Yeah. That's, bullseye. That's the truth. And yeah, like an NCSA, it's probably helped a lot of kids. And then there's probably a lot of kids that are like, we threw thousands of dollars into the ocean. It's going to be a different answer for people.
That's right.
But yeah, do your research and do your homework. And the proof is in the pudding for so many of these types of resources, right? Like, if you can look into and talk to other people and do your homework and look into places that are saying they'll help your son, you should be able to find out whether they have a track record of really doing that.
That's right.
Don't just listen to a sales pitch and fall for it. Look into it, do your homework, and then if you look into it and you're like, oh man, these guys have been doing it for a long time and have consistently done it. I tell people all the time too, don't just look into the programs or the places that are getting kids to the SEC or Big 12 or something like that. Because the truth is those are the single easiest people to help in the process, because those kids are so talented that they don't really need anybody's help. Go look into the people that are getting kids to the lower levels of college baseball, because that does take a little bit of work to help separate them from the herd, to help kind of promote them, to, put a little sweat equity into it, right? And reach out to people and try to connect dots or find out who's looking for a player that this kid kind of fits that bill. And so that's what I would suggest too, is look into who's helping the kids get to the lower levels just as much as they're helping them get to the higher levels. Because we've had kids get drafted out of our academy. I handed them the ball, or I put them in the lineup and they did the rest. You want to ask me, how did you guys help get that kid drafted? I told him what time the game was, and he showed up, and that was it, right? But it's the ones that kind of are in that pack of players, that other 95%, where their skill set is just like so many others, and so then that's where you kind of have to get, hey, this kid can do all these things, but he's also a phenomenal teammate. He's a wonderful student. You're going to love having him in your clubhouse, and you can kind of help maybe give them or help find a program that's looking for a player like that, but would also really like that player too. So
good stuff.
There's a lot of that. And that's what I would, if I was a parent looking to invest into my son's abilities to get into the next level, that's where I would start, is, okay, let me see who's helping people get to all sorts of levels, because that means they're probably doing it the right way.
Well said, sir. Well said. And I'm just going to use you guys as an example, but like using Hunter Pence Baseball Academy as an example, obviously, go look at their website. Go see where they're sending guys. All the different levels, you can see it. It's not hard to find. And then go look at like Twitters and look at do they have people following them? Does it look like they have real relationships? If there's not real relationships there, if the real relationships do not look like they're present, they're probably not. Right. Moving on, Mr. Aaron Cunningham. Let's go 2 or 3 more questions here. You know what? I want to. There's a question about junior colleges, and I feel like I've been talking about junior colleges at nauseum the last couple of weeks. What I want to do is I want to turn this question into all the levels. Okay. So I want, it says talk about junior college options, but here's what I want you to do. Aaron Cunningham, I want you to talk about all the levels and the options that are available, and kind of your synopsis summary on each. Yeah.
Well, if you start at the top, you're talking about your top 25 or 40 programs in the country. A lot of them exist in the SEC, and then you have a lot of your other Power 4 programs. I always tell people those programs are looking for the type of player where your grandma, who doesn't know anything about baseball, could show up to the park and say, hey, that's the best player. Fact. Right? That's who they're looking. That's who they are looking for. They're looking for the player that's so obviously better than everybody That's what they want. You move below that, you got mid-major baseball. Well, mid-major baseball is now looking for the players 10 years ago the SEC was looking for.
Yeah.
They are looking for elite high school players that are dominating almost every time they touch the field. Your lower level Division Ones, I think they kind of recruit with and against your JUCOs in Texas. I mean, most of the junior college coaches that are calling me about players nowadays are the same that are some of the lower level D1s, even the mid majors. I mean, some elite JUCOs are recruiting against your mid majors. I mean, it's JUCO's gotten that competitive. And then you have your mid to lower level junior colleges, and that's where, they kind of wait late into the process because they know we're not going to probably go get that kid. So they kind of wait a little longer to figure out who's still available and in their senior baseball season. And then they kind of go say, okay, who's doing great in their senior high school year? And then those guys go get them. D2, D3, that's a little bit more of an academic side. There's a little bit less scholarships in those levels. And so a lot of those decisions are based on academic profiles. Now you have your upper echelon D2s that recruit at a very high level. Like Angelo State over in West Texas. I mean, those guys are awesome, and they get some super high level kids.
Yep.
But your D3s, they have a little bit less athletic money to go around. So what they can do is they can get guys that are high academic, good baseball players. They can get them to come in on more of a academic scholarship. And then NAI is a little bit of its own monster, right? I mean, they have a lot of different rules that can come into play. Sometimes you'll see 26, 27-year-olds on NAIA teams that maybe went off and were in the military, or those NAIA rosters can get rowdy. I think there's even the ability to take kids that have like less than 2 years of pro ball experience. They can still be eligible in NAIA.
Let's go. Do we have any eligibility left?
Dude, I'm telling you, I know.
Let's go.
I was looking into it. I don't know if they're looking for a fat 42-year-old lefty, but if they are, but yeah, no, it's so yeah, all the different levels, and there's not one concrete answer for each one of those levels, but I do think, again, like you said a minute ago, find people that know what they're talking about and have done it for a long enough time to where they can, by the time you're 17, 18 years old, we can kind of say, this is where you're at now. This is the level that you should probably be looking at right out of high school. And that doesn't mean that you can't ever move to any of these other levels. Especially nowadays, you can move all over the place. But this is probably where it's best for you to start out in college playing ball and kind of go from there.
I love it. I'm not going to add anything to it except just at the Division III level, no athletic money. It's all academics, guys. But there's a ton of money if you're a really good student. So all I would say to that is just make sure you take care of your grades. You're opening yourself up. The guys that are going to get paid and go to school for free are the ones that everybody knows about. The rest are going to be fighting for those scholarships, those 11.7 that are still at the Division I level that you have to sign off. Hey, we're going to be NLI or we're going to be 11.7. So know that still exists. And then at the Division II level, there's 9 fully sanctioned scholarships. That's not much. So grades, like I get it. You say, oh, in this day and age, grades. No, they do matter because they'll give you a bigger piece of the pie. And who cares what if you get a 15% athletic and 70% green is green is green is green. Okay, so whatever money you can get to fund your college education, man, that's what you're looking to accomplish.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Well, I was just going to add just quickly, like I've had college coaches tell me that they associate high school grades with work ethic.
Well done.
So also if they see that you've got bad high school grades, sometimes they think, is this kid lazy? It's not always that way. But I've had college coaches tell me, hey, red flag on this kid's GPA, and
yep.
Obviously still, if they're talented enough, they'll make something happen, but it can absolutely be a separator. And like you said, at the D3 level, it's everything. I mean, you can get a full ride in D3 to play baseball if you have good grades. It just so.
You said separator, and I want to paint this picture. You said separator, and I'm just like, boom. All right, let's imagine player A and player B. They are almost the exact same physically. If there's a guy with a 3.1 and a guy with a 3.6, which one are you going to take?
Yeah, I mean,
You're
the
gonna
3-6.
That's right. So if you're listening to this out here, that's what matters is if it's going to end up in a tiebreaker and grades come down to it. Boy, can you imagine losing out on a scholarship because you didn't quite do all your homework? Or to me, that's it's not worth it. Do the easy stuff. Do what you need to do. Go get that academic money. Paint the right picture for yourself, the right profile for yourself, so that there's no shenanigans when it's time to make a decision. Talking with Aaron Cunningham on the Baseball Forward podcast, episode 86, Recruiting 101. Recruiting 101, Aaron. Like this is the basic fundamental class.
Yeah.
It makes me think of my chemistry class at Kansas State. I was like, does this guy know that everybody's talking and just like copying everyone? Like, what are we doing? That's what I think of. That's what I think of. It was 110. Sorry, whatever your name was. All right, Aaron Cunningham. My next question. We'll go two more. I want your take, man. You live in this world. So the question is this: how can I involve one of my coaches, high school or travel, in the recruiting process? As a player, how can I involve one of my coaches in the recruiting process?
Yeah. So obviously, you want to have references, like you kind of going back to like it's a job application. Your high school travel coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, anybody that might be, even coaches in any realm really that are around you, they're references, and if you have a coach, especially that has an established reputation or one that has kind of been helping kids in the past on a regular basis, you want to ask them to help you. And sometimes, how you get them involved is by, just simply asking them to help you. But then some other times it's, hey, coach, what do I need to do to get to this level? Right. I want to play, at this school. What does it take? Right. And then if you say, well, hey, buddy, you got what it takes right now. All right. Well, then, hey, coach, can you help me get in contact? Or it's, what you need to fill in these holes. And then, this can be a reality for you. So I think the biggest key when it comes to wanting coaches to help you in this process is making sure that you look at them like a reference.
Good.
If they need to have a good opinion of you, you need to give them a reason, because most coaches that have done this long enough, their reputation is extremely important, and they're not going to put their name behind somebody just because you ask them to. So you want to make sure you've kind of proven yourself to that coach too, that, I'm a reliable guy. I'm a good teammate. I work hard. I'm somebody that you can put your name behind. And then ask them, hey, coach, will you call this school for me? And most guys, I think we talked about this in one of the first episodes too, is, we're in this is a people business. We're in this to help kids, man. Amen. And, if you've proven that I can put my name behind you, I'm going to.
Think about how simple that is, guys. Think about how simple that is. I know this. If you put it all out there for me, and as a coach, man, I'm doing whatever it takes to help you accomplish your goals, whatever it takes. And Aaron, I know that you feel the exact same way. And that starts with the player, man, because I'll go back to the word separator. It's easy in today's world to just kind of be going with the flow and kind of average like everybody else. Man, separate yourself by the way you handle yourself, by the way you go about your business, the way you communicate with your coaches, the effort you give, and your coaches will be more than willing to help. Now, I want to spin into this question while I have you here: is should I expect my travel organization to help me with the recruiting process?
I mean, in my opinion, I think you should. At least for us, part of what we ask for is if you can give a commitment to us, we're going to commit to trying to help you. You say ask questions. Yeah, that would be one of the first questions I ask is like, are you guys going to help in this process? If your travel organization is just getting together, playing tournaments, and you never talk to them again, then that's what you should expect. You should expect to have to do it on your own. But that's where I would, again, do your homework and find out whether or not they have a track record of doing that. But simple answer. I think you should 100% expect it because, I mean, at the high school level, obviously, right? Like if you're talking young guys, totally different deal there. But once you get into high school, I think 100%, and you should not only expect it, but you should kind of make sure that you're holding them accountable to helping you, because I think that it is something that it's an expensive investment.
Yes, it is.
Travel baseball is not cheap. We, at least at our academy, we totally understand that. Don't take it for granted. But if you're going to invest in that much time and money and everything into it, you should have that expectation, I think.
And I think it goes, man, that's so good at what you say. Ask questions. Go deeper than say, do you help my son with recruiting? How? And but have the conversation, but do the research and know what the track record is, because I think there's a lot of frustration when it comes to that question specifically, because I'll call it like it is. I'm just going to say it like it is, and I've seen it, but there are a decent amount of travel coaches at the various levels, maybe team 3, team 4, team 5, that are out there collecting a summer check, and maybe they're young, they don't have a lot of experience. And I know I can hear the parents now chirping it, but that's kind of on you to understand what the situation is, and know who's coaching you, know what the expectation is going into the summers, but ask questions and do the research. Because Aaron, I do know this, Hunter Pence Baseball Academy has a fantastic reputation, and it's because of guys like you that are doing it the right way. And that's easy to see through 1 or 2 conversations.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I think part of it too is like, make sure that if you're in a travel organization, the guys that are in the know and are the ones that are helping in the recruiting process, make sure they know who your kid is. There's a lot of organizations out there that are massive, and I always wonder, I'm like, to the people that are the college coaches, when they're going to call me and a few other guys in our organization about players. If we were massive, how am I supposed to remember your son's name whenever this conversation starts?
Good point.
For us, we keep about 40 to 50 kids per grad class. So when they call me about the 2027 class and they're looking for left-handed pitchers or something, well, I know who they all are, because, I can pull up our rosters right in front of me, and I can kind of run them down, and I can kind of give them a profile of each guy. And then they say, oh, okay, well then, this is the type of guy that you just talked about that we're looking for. So, get me his phone number or something like that. I think one thing that is happening in the travel ball world right now is that it is becoming a big industry, a big business. A lot of teams are trying to get as big as they possibly can. How many teams got to bring in? Hey, that's great for the bottom line, but if you're looking to get into travel baseball to get your kid recruited, you got to make sure that the people that are helping that process know who your kid is. And I just have a hard time believing that if there's 200 or 300 teams in an organization, how are the directors at the top, who are the ones fielding these phone calls from the college coaches, going to know your son compared to the other 200 kids in that graduating class? The answer is they're not. They're going to talk about the same couple kids until those kids are gone, and then they'll look at the next couple. And then, so I know this is, maybe that's a hot button thing to touch on, but for me, I just think you want to make sure that the people that are taking the phone calls from the college coaches know who your kid is.
That is beautiful. And it's not a hot button. It's the truth. It is the truth. And it's what parents need to hear. And you know what? Hey, if you're listening to this and you're a parent, you're like, man, we don't have that. Okay, well, make some corrective measures. Hopefully it's not too late. Learn and grow. But if you are in a situation and it's dire and you're not getting the help, well, then you know that you got to start to kind of game plan on your own. And listen, I always say this is that the excuse that you're going to use that's going to end your career? Is that the one? Is it going to be the one where he says, well, my coach at this, he didn't help? Is that going to be the excuse that ends your baseball career? Because if it is, you're not really serious about baseball in the first place. What say you, Aaron?
Man, that's spot on. I mean, we try to help every single kid that comes through our academy, but I tell every single one of them that, like, don't sit around and wait for somebody else to help you in this situation, and if you're good enough and you are not wanting to give up this game and you want to play it as long as you can, there is a place for most kids that have that burning desire inside of them. Now what you see with some kids is it's like, I have a burning desire to play at Oklahoma State, but then if it's something below that, you're probably not going to do it. So you've got to be able to kind of look at it from that 50,000 foot view of, like, okay, where am I at and how bad do I want it? But I love it. Like, yeah, is this what's going to run you out of the game? I mean, you know how it is. This game is a boneyard of those I got screwed stories,
Man. And hear that clearly.
I feel like almost everybody, if you played long enough, you kind of have one of those, like, moments where you just, like, but I look back on my own playing days and I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, when I was like 27 and I was kind of spit out of the game, yeah, I was bitter for a minute, but then I look back at it now 15 years later and I'm like, yeah, I would have cut you too. Like, dude, you aren't good. So that's why you didn't get screwed. You just weren't good enough. So, but that's just the game. And that's why I tell kids, be where your feet are, have fun, man, and enjoy baseball when you get to play it, because you just don't know what's coming around the corner.
I love it, man. I love these conversations. And you know what? This was an awesome episode of the Baseball Forward podcast, because you know what? What's really cool, Aaron, and I know that this thing is just going to grow and grow and grow, is these questions, the interaction. At some point, we're going to be doing lives with our audience. And I'm thankful that you and I can just sit here and spitball and talk recruiting. And I just, my hope and prayer is that, man, this impacts as many young lives as possible.
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal, is trying to find a way to get information out, man. Information is power. So the more you can spread it, the better it's going to be. That's
right. All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you soon. Episode 86 of the Baseball Forward podcast, College Recruiting 101. We'll see you soon.